GEEK Files, 2026, March 17th. Still in Burnaby. Spring, summer 88, Whitehorse Air Maintenance. One of the cool ways so when you change an airplane over to floats, normally you do that down a lake because you got to get the airplane into the water. Except if it's a small airplane. And what you can do is use the trailer to pull the airplane out of the water, and then put the airplane on that trailer, then go down the runway until, with the airplane started and not strapped down to the trailer, until you hit the airplane's rotate speed, and they can just fly it off the trailer. It's a pretty cool thing. I don't know if you can still do it, but at Whitehorse at that time you could. And I'd never seen it done. I'd heard of it, but all the airplanes I worked on were big airplanes, and you really couldn't do that. Like, you can't do that with well, maybe you could do it with a Beaver and Otter, but you'd have to be going really fast down the runway, and then the trailer behind you, they're crappy trailers without trailer brakes, and when you try and slam on the brakes, the trailer would try and pass you. Anyway, so dear old Jamie Tate and Justin Rogers over at Summit Air decided to do this to a particular aircraft. Now, I was familiar with the aircraft. It had been in the shop for a while because it had carburetor problems. Aircraft carburetors are not something you can open and repair. You have to send them out to a carb shop, and they then open it, repair it, test it, and send it back, and it's expensive. But this is an outfitter's airplane. And I'm looking at this, and so I think Dave said, "Oh, come on, let's go watch this. Have you ever seen this?" I said, "No, let's go watch this." And I look at the airplane and I went, this airplane was supposed to have its carb sent out and rebuilt, but that usually takes longer than what's going on here. Like, that's a pretty quick turnaround. And this is the 80s in Whitehorse, so to send it down to like Calgary, I think was the closest. Calgary, Edmonton would be the closest repair shop. I'm going like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you just can't do this. But okay, so they, whoever was flying and whoever, I guess it was Justin Rogers was going to drive the truck and Jamie Tate was going to fly the airplane. So off they go down this runway, and they hit rotate speed for this little, whatever it was, Cub or Mall or something. It takes off, starts to climb, and then the engine sputters and the engine dies. And Tate has to land it on floats on the paved runway. Now, I have seen aircraft landed on snow, on floats on snow. I have seen aircraft landed on long wet grass on floats. That works. However, landing on floats on pavement is usually not a good thing. So there's steel strips down the bottom of floats for protection from hitting stuff. And there's just sparks flying everywhere on these floats as they just grind themselves to pieces on the pavement. Apparently, allegedly, we'll say, the carb wasn't sent out, and someone in Summit Air decided to try and fix it on their own, and then charge the customer for it, or the customer decided to fix it on his own. I don't know how. That could have been with outfitters. It could have been that he said, "Oh, you give me the carburetor, I'll look after getting a new one," and then tried to repair it himself. That's quite possible. But whatever happened, yeah, the carb wasn't sent out for rebuild, and now after takeoff, the engine quit because the carb wasn't working, and down the runway they came and damaged floats. So yeah, penny wise and pound foolish. Making appropriate life decisions, you don't make any money, but boy, do you get good stories.